You know it. I'm back. It's me, your host, yours truly, with a review of an older type game. Even though I'm still in the hunt to play Red Dead Redemption 2 and, of course, Darksiders 3, I've been playing a lot more older games on my GameCube and PS3 because I recently just played through the entire Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban. That was great. I just played through RTS for the GameCube, and I just started up another gameplay, or game through, I guess you'd call it, on Dead Space 2. So how does a GameCube RTS for a console hold up after like 17 years of, it being released? Stick around to find out. I am Saber Planet Gaming, and this is Men R.T.S. Before we start, I gotta give a shout out to a YouTuber channel of Loopy Long Plays. I had no way of actually recording my GameCube gameplay, but Loopy Long Plays luckily had a long play of it, so I'm giving him a shout out. He was kind enough to respond to my comments and let me use his gameplay, so I want to thank you for letting me use your gameplay. Moving on though. First things first, gameplay for an RTS, real-time strategy game, on a console. It's incredibly impressive. I mean, yes, it can be slow at points, either when you're just starting to build your base, or when your squad dies and you have to wait for like 20 machine gunners to build. Other than the story being subpar, I can't really find any follies in this game. Building your own base is fun. Where to set up guard towers, pillboxes, maybe have some infantry as backup. Literally whatever you want. This gameplay is just like any other RTS for the most part. After defense comes offense. Choosing from the variety of entry in the bracks, vehicles in the garage. Choose the hero you want to join in to your squad and send them into the darkness to battle. Rinse and repeat. That's it. And it's freaking great. The game is like so simple, yet you can play it in so many different ways. It's really complicated like that. But I mean, pretty much the same thing can be said for all RTSs, so it's not that huge of an accomplishment. Moving on to another topic under the umbrella of gameplay is how much game there actually is to play here, and it's a lot. There are 15 story missions, 8 great battles, and 8 special operations. Combine that all together and you got 31 different missions. I mean, hell, I can play the same mission 3 times over and have just as much fun the third time as I did the first time. Also, side note, this shows how much game companies have changed. You want to get the bonus side missions in Spider-Man? $25, please, on top of the actual game you got to buy full price. You want to get 16 free side missions in RTS? Just get gold on story missions. Man, things have changed. RTS Iron Man coming in for gameplay at a solid 76 out of 100 pros. Replayability is pretty high for this game. Very, very fun. There's no way around. Like, this game is just fun to play. Heroes are iconic. I'll get more into that in the next category and presentation. Cons, maybe slow at times. Can't deny that. And the story is subpar. I'm not expecting a great story in a 2002 GameCube RTS style game, but it was a little subpar. Nevertheless, we still have 2 categories to go into: presentation and overall impact. So let's jump right into the game's presentation, sights, and sounds. Well, let's go.
Reporting. En route. Take it easy. God. You got it.
I want to say that presentation right off the bat is one of the most fond categories. I really think that the sights and sounds of a game is always like criminally underrated. Men R.T.S. is easily a shoo-in for my top 5 presentation games of all time. And I'm starting with the fact that there is nothing like it. Sure, there are other RTS games, but the thing I love about Men R.T.S. is you're fighting as little army soldiers.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Yes, I know, thanks, Captain Obvious. I just find it so cool to be fighting in everyday places like the kitchen countertop or the kitchen floor or just the living room, but on such a miniature scale with toys that most people played with when they were younger. It reminds me almost of Toy Story. Like, what are my toys doing? when I'm out at the grocery store or whatever. 99% chance to do nothing, but there's that 1% that they're fighting over there, and someone's building a garage over there to build tanks, bringing over there. Unlikely, but it's cool to play through the scenarios.
Next topic I would like to extrapolate on is the heroes. Now, growing up, I absolutely love these guys. I mean, there's no understatement. I love these guys. You got the Captain Sarge, pretty much the assistant Captain Vicky, the no-brain, all brawn thick, Captain B for Bazooka Riff, leader of the Sea of Flames Scorch, ever so nervous Hoover, the long bomb hippie Shrap, and of course, my favorite, Marksman Bullseye, whose name literally explains how good he is.
Sarge here. Enemy sighted.
All of them different, all of them unique, and yet so iconic. To me at least. I mean, they're equipped with their own set of quips and dialogue. Man, is it fun to play the game with them in it.
Vicky,
What took you so long?
but how did you...
I came in through the window, pitched a ride with the air cavalry. How about you guys?
Well, with the shooting, I mean, we had a couple...
Tell me later. There's a train leaving for Blintz's compound at the other end of town. We need to clear out the tan base and get on board.
Sounds like a plan.
Moving on to the last thing I want to talk about under presentation is the music. It's a huge part in this game. There's a lot of downtime in this game, whether you're just creating base, or you're making units, or you're making them run to battle. You got a long distance running. Most of the time you'll hear almost nothing except for the music in game.
So naturally, at times, the only thing you will hear in the game is the music. There's only about 5 or 6 soundtracks, and they're all dynamite. Music is generally hard to describe, so I won't try to. Instead, just take a look at these 2 gameplay clips and try and siphon out the music, because it's really damn good.
Ready to bet. Where do you want it? Rolling.
Yeah? Okay, no problem. On my way. Enemy sighted. Moving out. Okie dokie. Send me home. Send me home. If you say...
Here we are at the end of presentation 100 out of 100 pros. Great voice clips, and by that I mean the voice clips that your soldiers produce when you select them or tell them to go somewhere. I think those are really underrated in this game. Great level design. Heroes are awesome. Music is exactly what I want. What I mean by great level design, by the way, one thing I want to point out is, because you're playing as miniature guys, say you're playing in the kitchen, one of the levels, there's a cup on the ground, and it's massive because you're playing as these little guys. I think that's a really cool dynamic. Cons, no cons for presentation. Straight up 100%, 100, real deal. But what can I get for overall impact? Last category coming up. Stick around. Here we go.
Nice.
In my sight.
Loaded.
Not a problem.
Overall impact is a pretty hard category to rate because a pretty big chunk of it is based on how I feel of the game after about a year of playing it. And I always do my reviews probably a couple of weeks after playing a game, so it's hard to factor that in when I do games like God of War or Shadow of the Tomb Raider. But I've had this game for 12 years now, and I've definitely had time to soak it in.
I mean, this doesn't play a major part in overall impact, but it does play a part. Lucky for me, I've played this game religiously for a long time, and I can say this game has never grown old.
Ever. I still have as much fun as I do today as I did 12 years ago when I got the game. There's no difference.
The last thing I would like to point out in RTS Army Men is the hard difficulty, a standard in pretty much all games, but in RTS, it's sinister. A big part of replayability and the number one factor in inducing sweat is the hard difficulty in this game. On hard, one enemy tank rolls in and it can take like 6 guard towers by itself. I mean, you better panic. Honestly though, with 35 levels, they all feel different in hard difficulty. So it might be a bit of a stretch to say this game has 70 levels, but I can verify that stretch. Here we are, the final category, overall impact, scoring a pretty high 89 out of 100. Pros, it still holds up to this date, 17 years after release. Hard difficulty adds a new layer. Heroes are just as iconic. No cons for overall impact. So what does this mean for the overall score of the game? Well, if you brew down all the numbers into one big fat ball, make no mistake, your eyes do not deceive. 8.8 out of 10. A solid score if you ask me, for a game to stand out in today's times against insane graphics, great stories, and immersive multiplayer. It is a feat no short of a miracle, yet it happens. The toy soldier that could and will keep going. I'm your host, Steve Planet Gaming, and I hope you enjoyed this review.
Oh, this is a bad one, Sergeant. Worst I've seen.
Not long ago, we had this region secure under the supervision of one Colonel Blitz. That changed when Blitz was injured in the line of duty. Medics did what they could.
Thanks for sticking around till the end. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff if you want. Also, Patreon links in the description if you want to support the channel. 50% of the proceeds go directly to charities for the environment. Really good cause. Support my channel. I'll appreciate it. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.